Okay, so today we're going to work on the cat and the branches around the cat. So before we start, we traced the cat already. So before we start working on the cat, I am going to talk a bit about the branches around. So the branches around are, they have a movement, and it's really a nice movement. If you can see here, the main strong branch is moving these big ones right there. This is the big ones. They're surrounding kind of the cat. And this one is pointing right this way at the cat. The one underneath, this is the strong one, and you can see the strong one goes straight down and then it goes underneath. So the cat is kind of, it's just kind of surrounding this beautiful focal point. Then you have the branch, the movement of the branch, especially the strong one, the big one, points kind of at the cat. So it moves, it's not moving away from the cat, it turns up. So it gives that beautiful envelope for the where the cat is. That's the big ones. There is a rhythm to these branches, so they're not they're not there. Whoever put those branches in there, even if it's a AI, it's done in the right way. If you look at it carefully, you will see that the cat looks like she's sitting on one of those branches as well. She's sitting on that one here. So it is a nice, and it turns and it points at the cat. Look at this. Right here. There's a movement right there that points at the cat. This one is pointing at the cat. This one right here is pointing at the cat. All of those branches, they're not going away from the cat, they're pointing at her. Not all of them, but most of them are, especially the strong ones. So now we're going to start with the cat. So the cat is the focal point, but it is a small size, so there's not a lot of detail. We can work with Payne's gray and a bit of black. So I'm going to use Payne's gray. The reason I'm using Payne's gray and not only black is just because when I want to highlight part of this, the cat, part of the, to give it a bit of shape, I don't want gray, I want blue. So Payne's gray has a little bit of blue in it. So when we put white, we're going to see blue more than gray. And white. So black, Payne's gray, and white. Any black you have. Titanium white. I'm using my ivory black. I always use ivory black. Okay, it's good. Let's get a round brush. I have a good size round brush. I'm going to take ivory black, put in it some Payne's gray. And I'm going to start with the shape of the cat in general. The general shape of the cat. It's important to get that shape because there's nothing else really. Like there's no strong detail other than the shape of the cat because it's all black. The rest is all black. You might need another layer. Now, on the reference itself, there's a small detail here. Right here. But on the reference itself, this detail doesn't exist. There's a triangle here, and it's up to you. You are welcome to keep the triangle, put it on, or not put it on. It's not important detail. This triangle, you'll see in a minute, gives a kind of a window on the background. So the background, and I will get a reference to show you what I mean in a minute. Let's get the paws of the cat, because cats really usually have a very nice movement of paws. Okay, and that's right there, that little detail. And like I said, it's up to you. If you want to put that detail, or you don't want to put it, it doesn't make a big difference, especially at this size, small size. It needs to be, if you put it, this triangle, it needs to be higher a little bit here, because that's her back paws, and this is the front. So it's a triangle, but it's on an angle in this, at this point, in this right here at the bottom. Honestly, it's so small, the cat size in this is really small, so I wouldn't really put too much detail, personally. What's important is the shape of the cat. And the shape of the tail has a beautiful, nice, soft movement there. All right, I'm gonna let it dry. I'll do one more layer because I can see the red in there, and then we'll put some highlights. So now I can start highlighting. So I'm taking a smaller brush. I'm still using a round brush. So this is number 3, but this one was number 4. So I'm using a slightly smaller brush. I'm going to take Payne's Gray and titanium white. So now I get this beautiful gray blue. I did already a second coat of black and Payne's Gray on the cat off camera. And I'm just gonna clean my brush. Oops. Jeez. Okay. Stick. I don't want heavy paint. So I'm just kind of putting a little bit of water in my paint. Let's clean this. And I'm going to take this highlight and put it where there's a bump up. So we can put a bit here, and it depends where the light is hitting too. Just a bit. Can you zoom in? Sure, I'll zoom in. Just a bit where the head is, right here. And I'm not going to bring it down, and I'm not bringing the highlight down here. It's just up here. Then a bit on the nose, because this is where it catches light. Now, we can put a couple here. And it's okay if you see like this is really strong right now. I can always go back and darken a bit or glaze it. Right there. Let's put kind of a little bit right here if you want. I mean, you can just add as many detail as you want, but keep in mind your details that you're adding. This is a small size, so it depends on the size you're working on. I'm working on a small size, so I'm not putting too much. I don't want to put too much detail. And just try to blend them into the dark part. So I'll show you what I mean in a minute. I don't want a harsh line that stops here and a harsh line that stops here. So I'm trying to get us kind of a soft edge to this highlight. I will go back and assess, like look at this and see if I have too many strong brush strokes of highlight, then I will darken it. I'm going to take more of the gray, Payne's Gray, push it into the white and have a medium tone. So I have dark, light and medium tone now. And I'm going to go with the medium tone and then just kind of soften the edges a bit. I don't want, I really like the way it's the dark of the cat, like the dark color. So this is, for me, is more than enough So what I did is I highlighted, then over here where the highlighted color meets the dark black, I went down with my value into a darker value. So I took Payne's gray and I mixed it with the highlighted color, and then I softened the edge that's in between the highlight and the dark. So I don't have a strong light and then dark in between. So this is kind of a transition, a soft transition. Yeah, that's it. I don't think I want to do more than that. Now, there's a small, tiny detail, and I have a number 1 round brush. I'm not sure if this detail is necessary, but I will try, and if it doesn't work, then I'm not going to put it. It's the eye, and I mixed black and white only, and it's not a light gray, it's a dark gray. I will try to put the eye in, but if it doesn't look good, I'm going to remove it. That's it. Done. I'm going to let it dry and see how it goes. Maybe I will take same number 1 brush, take just black, and I'll see if it goes, how it goes if I do a dark black here in the eye. If it will kind of soften the it's just a hint. That's what we're trying to do. We're just showing a hint of an eye. This is really kind of far away. It's not a close-up of the cat. And we're not... The cat is part of the whole image, the surrounding. So it's not really... It is a focal point, but we don't have a lot of detail in there. Okay, let's take... Cat's eyes are usually more like on the yellow side. But it's really small in here to put a yellow. Okay, let's just, what I did is I gave it a hint of a small highlight right there. Just a black and white, a little bit more white in my black. So it's a light gray, a good round brush, small one. And what I did is I did this movement. It's more like a hint, a circle, a little bit of that around the eye here, right here on one side, not all around. You're not doing a circle. We're highlighting only one part right here because the light hits this way, and this is where it's gonna catch the light on the side, not the whole eye. And honestly, it's more than enough. Okay, so I have here three round brushes. I have number 3, number 1, and number 4 right there. So I'm going to start using number 3 for now for the branches. So what I have is black, Payne's gray, and I put burnt umber in here. So I'm going to take a bit of black, introduce burnt umber in it because I want a really dark burnt umber. I could put, by the way, if you want a really nice black and you don't want to use the black you have like ivory black, if you have burnt umber, you can easily use ultramarine blue, and if you mix it with burnt umber, there's ultramarine blue right here. Now, if I mix ultramarine blue and burnt umber, I'm going to get a really beautiful black, dark color. So, okay, let's see if I can close this. So Mission Impossible. It says Burnt Umber, Ultramarine Blue, and if I mix them, you get a very beautiful dark color right there. It's almost black. So I'm going to take, or you just kind of use Ivory Black and Burnt Umber. It's not exactly the same, but we are not highlighting with this color. We are not working on a big scale. We're just kind of putting small branches. We want dark branches, and I'm working on an 8 inches by 10 inches board, so I can easily use Ivory Black and Burnt Umber. Okay, so for the first, I'm going to work on the upper part. Watch how the branches start with a thick line and then it becomes thinner. So I started with thick over here and then thinner the tip. So you don't want your branch to be exactly the same from this part, from the starting part here until the end. It usually goes darker, it goes narrower. So this is the main one. I'm going to start with the main one, big. I used watercolor pencil crayon, so I can easily go over with my brush. And then I'm going to go up. I'm watching, I'm looking at the reference. This is slightly darker here. This is wider, and then becomes slightly, not darker, sorry, narrower. Okay, and then now it's narrower. So now if I find that my brush is not too thick, too strong, too thick, big, then I can switch to a smaller one for the tip or for this part. But what I'm doing so far is I am still using the same brush, but I'm just using a very light pressure on it to get that thin color, thin line. I think I need more coffee. Okay, okay, more. Now wider, wide. I'm gonna stop here and take this and go down. I'm gonna put a little bit of pressure here to get a wider line. And then I still want this to be a wide line, but not too wide. There is a beautiful rhythm in branches. Especially the end. You want the end to be the end of that little branch to be really thin. Right, now another one down here, and then I'll move to the highlighting and the smaller, narrower twigs and branches. So now that's not in here. I did give this branch a little bit of a interesting movement. It's a bit different from what you see in the reference. You'll see it more when we start highlighting it. We are going to highlight these branches. And that's why I'm using burnt umber. Eventually, I'm going to be highlighting with burnt umber. All right. I'm narrowing, making those ones a little bit narrower. I'm going to go over these branches with a little bit of burnt umber and white. So I'm going to highlight some of them. Okay. Okay, it's good. So now I'm going to take burnt umber and put some little bit of, actually just burnt umber, nothing else, just burnt umber. And the smallest brush I have, number 1, round. And I'm going to start working on those small little branches, twigs, branches, whatever, right there. All of those little ones. Now, I'm not going to put all of them, but I'm going to put a couple, just to make it look interesting and not so stark. And then I'm just going to do this. With this small brush, burnt umber, no need to put anything else. Burnt umber is enough. Because we don't want them to look too strong. And we're just going to sit and paint little twigs.
Are we going to put flowers on them?
We'll see how it goes. Yes, we might put flowers. So my paint is not thick. So what I did is I took the burnt umber and I added water to it. Enough water to make it easy to for the brush to slide with the paint. If your paint is too thick, it's going to blob. And the lines I'm putting, they don't really have to be too strong or too many of them. I think there are buds in there. Just enough to soften the branches. And I really don't want them to look too busy. Okay, well, we have a little bit of a small branch here that goes down this way, stops, goes up again, and Okay. I don't want to make it too busy, so I'm just going to stop at this point, and then we'll take it from there. There. Now let's put the ones underneath. Again, this one is not oh, it's not too busy. I'm just putting smaller branches, so there's not only big ones, thick ones. And then maybe okay. I'm not following exactly what's happening in there, but just a little bit. Okay. Good. All right. Now I can at this point take the same brush that I'm using, take burnt umber and white, and try to highlight the big branches on top, right here. You know what? I'm going to add a little bit of white because it dries darker anyway. All right, let's do that. This reminds me of delicate Japanese paintings.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm assuming just kind of the big ones that need highlights, and the rest is okay. Maybe on, just a couple, not all of them. A little bit of highlights. And it doesn't have to be a straight line. It could be, you could just kind of start with a line and then kind of give it stop and then continue again. So it's get a soft brush stroke. We don't have to continue the same straight line all the way. All right. Can put a hint. There. Okay. Again, let's take a little bit more white, put it in the burnt umber. Water. Clean my brush. And let's put some highlights on this one here. So the branch, the highlights are not the same on the branch from the top to the bottom because the branch is not straight. It goes down, up, down. So you get the light catching, the branch catching more, getting more highlights on certain areas, and then others will be, other area of the branch will be not as strong highlighted. All right, let's do this one here. And when it's completely dry, if I find that my highlight is too white, I can glaze it with burnt umber. So when I have a white highlight, strong, too strong, and I need more brown on it, that's okay. Let it dry completely and then just glaze it with a bit of more burnt umber on top. You will still see the highlight, but it changes the color to burnt umber, from white to burnt umber, to light brown, I should say. Okay. Right. Okay, so now I'm going to take a little bit more burnt umber in here with the white. And I'm going to add a couple of more highlighted branches, but with more burnt umber in them, in this area, because I don't want them to be, I want them to be there, but I don't want them to be too strong. It's a hint of highlight in here. Okay. This is burnt umber mixed with a bit of that, mixed with a bit of white. Okay, and then I'm putting. You can use a glazing medium instead of white. I'm sorry, instead of water. Glazing medium will do too. So I'm just kind of I want to show you how to glaze the branches here if it's too white. Okay, so this is actually, you know what? I'm going to do this one here up here because it's probably drier than this. And I'm just going to put burnt umber. And you see how the burnt umber this is burnt umber with a bit of white, but lots of water, is toning down the white. So it's making the white a little bit more brown. It's still there, but it's browner. It has a brown hint to it. Okay, same here. I'm gonna take. Let's see if it's not completely dry, it will lift. That's why we wait for it to dry. Okay, you can see that the burnt umber glaze is toning down the white and making it more into a brown just by kind of putting it over the white. There. You see? That's what glazing is. Glazing is a thin layer of paint that it's like a see-through. So when you make your paint see-through, and then you put it on top, you can still see what's underneath, but it changes the value or the color. There. Softer, much nicer, and it blends in with the background more than the white I had before. Okay, so now if we want to put some beautiful kind of flowers in there, we can. I would personally take cadmium red light. Because the reason I'm taking cadmium red light is just because the background is a red, orangey red. So I have a bit of that kind of medium red in here, but if I add white to the medium red, it's going to give me a very strong pink. I want a pink, but I don't want it to be too strong. See, this is too strong. This is just going to jump on the, it's going to take over. So I'm going to take a bit of brown just to tone it down. And for the first layer, I just want to make it more earthy. Now, the buds or the flowers are there, but they're not the focal point. The cat is the focal point. So if you start making the color, the other supporting actors around the main actor stronger and more, if you can see them more, then we will lose the focal point. So what I'm trying to do is take a bit of darker now, and then I'll highlight it after. Okay, so this is a good medium tone, earthy. Let's add a little bit of red in it, because we're going to highlight anyway. And let's try. Okay, let's see how it will look. So I'm going to start from here. Okay, I'm not trying to put them on certain branches. I'm not following. There are branches in there, they're in there, but I'm not trying to put them on the branches. Let's put some buds in here. The buds will soften those the harsh branches in there. Okay. The small ones for the small ones, I'm using just cadmium red light, a bit of burnt umber and white. And for the highlighted one, for the small one, and for the bigger ones, I'm using a softer, darker value. Same color, but darker value. And it's okay if the first couple of buds or flowers are too close as far as color to the background. That's okay for now. Because I can assess and see if I want them there or no. I'd rather we do this than to put them there and then find out that they're too strong and too, they need to be in a different location. Okay, let's keep it this way for now. I will go back to it and highlight it. Again, let's go down here. These buds here are kind of away from the cat. They're not right next to it, so I can add a couple. Now, I'm going to take a little bit of white, put it in my burnt umber, cadmium red with burnt umber. I'm going to take a little bit of red in here. Cadmium red light and white with a touch of burnt umber. That's a beautiful, beautiful pink. And I'm going to come here. I'm still working with a round brush, so I'm dabbing. Soft, soft dabbing. And also, if by the time this is dry and I find that it's too light, too white, and I want some more pink, I can glaze that too. It's soft enough and enough to show the beautiful still. I added a bit of red to show the beautiful branches, and it just softens the harsh, strong branches in there. Have a little bristle that's giving me a hard time. Okay, gone. Done. Okay. And even those, the way I'm putting the brush strokes some of them are big, small, medium, different sizes. They're not the same size, all of them. And some of them are just floating. Just gives it that beautiful softness. And it softens the actual harsh, strong branches in there. Okay. We can add more if we want. We can add a little bit more kind of smaller details. Like in here, you could see in the reference, there are kind of buds on the smaller branches, but there's no need really to add too many elements in there. It will take away from the actual beautiful. There. A beautiful painting, a beautiful composition. We don't need much. Okay, this project is done. On to the next one.